Yeah, girl, it's been a minute since I cried with you. Conversating, do nothing right with you. Hold me closer, ain't nothing wrong with you.
Welcome to NWA Cane Corsos podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
Party, ain't nothing happening tonight. Quit trying to make me feel like I'm the girl. We the same, yeah. Oh, we're tripping off of petty little things, baby. Oh, you're spinning off emotions when you know that it ain't on you.
I'm the true champion, and they make me the underdog. I'm gonna show them all they're wrong because I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. There'll never be one like me.
Welcome back to the NWA Cane Corsos show. I am your host, Joe. I'm one of the biggest students in the game. Steady learning every show. There's something new, different perspectives. The men and women across the world that's in animals. If you hadn't been here before, check the description. Eternal Animals, you need any breeder supplies, whether it be progesterone machines, anything, it's in there. Make sure to subscribe, become a member for $4.99. Just buy your boy some coffee. That's all I'm asking. And always hit the like button. Without further ado, Alicia is back in the house. What's going on?
What's going on?
Oh,
Not
man.
much.
Yeah. I know you working them dogs and whooping ass, right?
Oh, it never ends.
Yeah. Toledo Presas in the house. So
I got Monster,
yeah.
Joker, my little baby Joey back here, and I'm sleeping in her cage.
Yeah, man. Woo, golly. And you started requiring that getting that hardware up. You're gonna have to have a room just for all the awards you get.
I got ready. I got some more from the UPCC show. It was our first show in some years since Richard Kelly had left and got taken over by Mauricio Chavez. We're kind of putting back together the crew on the UPCC. So basically, I handle all the show directory and I kind of got all the show stuff together, all the rules and regulations, and pretty much keep track of everybody's points and things like that. So we can come up with all of our new titles and points and make it an opportunity thing for everybody to get out and do something with their dogs. So it's a little bit of everything.
So the UPCC is more of a working group, right? For the president.
It is. And then we're one of the only registries that you could take to like UKC to get papers. So like I know I have a few ABD dogs I imported. So they come with their stud book, ABD papers that cannot be taken to like AKC or anything like that. So you would have to go to the UPCC first and then take to the UKC to get them registered here in the United States. They're one of the first registries to actually be recognized to have these dogs with any registry. So I fully support that, I'm very honored to be aboard to help the UPCC start doing the show stuff once again, on top of all the working events, because a lot of places only have like the hardest hitting. Well, we want to do a breed specific courage test, which we came up with a 1 and 2, which obviously dogs passed that. So now we're working on a 3, maybe even possibly a 4, just depends on how things go. Very excited for our next show coming up in 2026. It's probably gonna be when the kids are out of school, and I'm hoping it could be more up this way in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's easier for me. I got all the equipment, so it's kind of really exciting about that. So we got people that can come out, show, do lure coursing, pulse, agility, stride, hardest hitting, driviest puppy. So like, how normal people, they do a driviest puppy. They just go out there with a flirt pole and the judge is like, oh, this dog is the most driviest. I have a whole sheet dedicated to driviest puppy, scored individually per points per section. And then that kind of breaks down when the dog has the highest points. This is the dog that got driviest puppy, not just by ragworms. I have legitimate paperwork that you have to tally up to win driviest puppy instead of an opinion on a dog.
Right.
So I try to make it more fair and actually more of a competition than something given to somebody. Because you
Mhm.
do get a certificate if you get the driviest puppy. You also win a nice trophy, you know. So I want to make it worth people's while.
Right.
And like I said, I kind of based it off because a lot of people don't do much with these presses, and we base the shows off so people can take their dog off the chain and come to the yard or to the show to get them more involved with their dogs. You know, because my biggest thing is to get your dogs out and do things with them, and I want to encourage that to people. I don't want to discourage people. So I based it. I can't say I. We as a whole, as a UPCC board, had came up with these ideas and we executed them to make it more fair for everybody to come out and do things.
Right.
And I just get tired of people like, oh, my dog won't behave, they won't do this. I'm like, we base it around people that can literally just take their dog off the yard and bring him to the show and win it. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, it's still a competition. You still have class dogs. You still have dogs that might be better than your dogs, or more trained than your dogs. But at the end of the day, you still could win. You won't know unless you come.
Right. Let me ask you this, because you know this is a big question. Is it a difference in the show presses and the working presses? It seemed like there might be some size difference in the ones I see with you guys.
So the FCI leans more towards the more bones, the heavier dogs, you know, and then like the people that want to work your dog, they're gonna have a leaner, more athletic type dog.
Mhm.
That comes back from what they would say the Dogo Canario versus the Presa Canario. And
Mhm.
honestly, it's just what the genetics that they had brought back um, into recreating the breed. This is where we're going to get back into the recreation of the breed because I have a whole little spew about that.
Right.
But I don't want to mess my facts up, so I had
Okay.
got it all out.
Okay.
Um,
So
so
so one thing we wanted to talk about, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to keep you focused too.
no,
The
I don't want to go into that one yet. I can save that one for later.
yeah. Well, let's talk about the term game dog and the Presa Canario. Now we know that it was probably some pit bull added or something in there in these recreated breeds, you
Yeah,
know?
they added, you know, the pit bull in there because they wanted a dog that had the agility, the drive, you know, things like that. Like that comes with the black that's in these dogs too, because you know, a pit bull does come in the color black. It is recessive, but the press is not supposed to have a recessive trait of black where it just pops up at any time given. It actually takes two to tango to carry the black gene, or at least one of the parents has to be black in order to produce black puppies. So it's not just going to magically appear on two brindle dogs, a fawn dog, and a brindle dog. You have to breed one black parent, two black parents, or none at all, because you're not going to get a black presser. Um, a little bit of genetics and a little bit of health testing that I've done on embarks with all these dogs. And a lot of the old school people that actually started embark with these dogs could tell you the same thing. Um,
Mhm.
but it all comes back to the dogs that they added. Now I have had one dog from Ergonato's kennel I embarked. It came back dominant black. So no matter what dog you bred that dog to, you'd have black puppies. Well, how do you get
Right.
a dominant black dog? That's almost like a Labrador Retriever that has dominant black. So whatever
Mhm.
color you breed it to, it could always produce a black
Produce.
dog.
Yeah.
But that's not supposed to be an oppressor, as people would say a throwback being, right? Regulados is one of the biggest kennels in Spain that produces dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no integrity in the old school dog breeders, then there really ain't much to say about anybody else. All right, go.
Mm.
Hold on. Wait, put this
Uh,
dog down.
yeah, you gonna get us in trouble.
But
Yeah.
I just know from experience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
everybody has their own thoughts and ways on how things go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just know from personal experience and embarks, um, some dogs don't come back 100% Presa. Some people say throwback genes, and there is a such thing as throwback genes, as everybody knows, which we'll get into that on the white markings.
Right.
Um,
Right. But from my understanding, when I talked to you, when we was mentioning back and forth, you were telling me that the Presa Canario uh, is not necessarily a fighting dog, or was bred to be a fighting dog specifically, or a game dog. Am I saying that right?
Yes. So,
Okay.
a lot of people I've seen freely throwing around a game bred Presa because a dog will fight. I'm gonna go over a little bit of why a Presa was not a true fighting dog, right? So, a Presa Canario is a massive base guardian, defensive by nature, high threshold to pain, heavy, powerful, but not endurance built, bred for judgment and not for impulse, right? So
Hmm.
you come to a game bred terrier, APVT, terrier-based combat specialist. So this is what they're bred for. They're willing and unwillingness to quit despite the most difficult circumstances, even face an injury or death. So like
Hmm.
if you're fighting dogs, they're gonna either kill each other, one's gonna die, and it's still gonna be fighting that dog. They ain't fighting back. Same
Right.
thing with putting a dog on a hog. The dog has holes in it, almost dead, and it's still holding on to that hog. Now, some presses will cur, I mean, some of them will keep going till the death, but it's very slim to none. Like I said, there is pit bull in the lines of the presses, depending on what island you were at. Um, in Spain, that added these dogs.
Right.
One side may have added it, the other side may have not. This person may have, that person may have not. Um,
Right.
so back to the pit bull, they're very offensive, persistent by nature. So like if you ever go to an APBT show like AADRI or ADBA, dogs are showing teeth as soon as they see another dog.
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's male, doesn't matter if it's female, doesn't matter if it's big, small, little, it's already wanting to eat the dog.
Right.
The low engagement threshold, that's what I'm saying. If a dog just walks past that dog, it's going to grab it up. It doesn't have to be antagonized to be ambitious to bite another dog. It's just going to rip into the dog.
Mhm.
Um, they're bred for stamina and persistence. That's why you see dogs that are real thin. They're not, none of them are overweight. If they are, they're pets inside the house. They're not doing what they're bred to do. This comes to the real bulldog people. They'll condition their dogs all day. That's why you see these pit bulls on chains all day, because they're very athletic, agile dogs. So if you put them in a kennel, they kind of go stir crazy. They want to jump out. They don't get enough
Right.
exercise. And they're bred for tunnel vision. So once they're locked on their object, they're not wanting to go anywhere else. They're kind of stuck where they're at. So their eyes kind of go blue. They kind of go red, and they're just wanting blood. Um, Now I've seen that in some of my presses, but it was for a man. It wasn't for a pit bull. Now you got to remember, the game bred pit bulls are not supposed to be dog or not supposed to be human
Man.
aggressive. So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
if you take that to a dog that's supposed to be a guardian breed, you're killing the drive for man drive, right? But you're bringing in the prey, right? So there's a little conflict there. So that's why they added them for the prey, canary prey, catch dog, and then you have your defense. So they're gonna add like whatever they think is a man stopper, which you Mojero comes in there because they're defensive by nature, right? So you
Yeah.
add in the original Mojero in there.
Right.
Um, so this will be a little bit of educational thing about the Presa and the history, the hard history of the Presa.
Okay.
In the Canary Islands, a hard environment, which is, or I'm sorry, a hard environment, hard history. The Presa Canario comes from the Canary Islands, where the rural life was harsh and working dogs were expected to guard the property, protect livestock, manage cattle, confront predators. Now, um, back in the day, there was no predators until they were brought onto the island. So this was well after the recreation that these dogs were used for these types of things, right?
Hmm.
So during the 18th and 20th centuries, the islands also had a culture where animal fighting, bulls, roosters, and sometimes dogs occurred, just as in many parts of Europe at the time. This was a reflection of the era, but not defining trait of the Presa.
Hmm.
But yes, sometimes the presses were used to do dog fighting, but they were not game dogs. So they would test sometimes their studs male on male to decide on what male they want to use for their breeding stock, just to kind of test the hardiness of the dog. It is historically accurate that some presses were tested or pitted for informal matches, but this was not for the purpose of the breed, not for consistence or standardized, not for consistent or standardized, not selective breeding or gain it for gameness, not comparable to terrier-based fighting breeds. Um, this is a little bit of why the Presa was not a true fighting dog. The Presa's mindset is if I act, I must. So like, if a dog's coming at me, of course I'm gonna have to defend myself. But if a dog doesn't defend itself, it's a cur. That's almost any breed, correct?
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
that's like if you have a protection dog and that dog won't protect itself, how is it gonna protect you? It's trash.
Right.
So that's just my little input of that.
Okay.
Um, and the Presa will not continue no matter what, or they'll act if I must, but not I will continue no matter what. This is why the historical accounts show that while Presas occasionally evolved, they were never famous for specialized dog fighting because they basically quit. And what happens to a game bred pit bull if they quit? They're cold.
You're cold. Yeah.
That's not the case with a Presa. If they quit, they just, well, I know the dog will fight. That's good enough for me. They're
Right.
not bred. They're not bred. If they quit, they get bred. If the American Pit Bull Terrier wins, the loser will never be bred. It'll be cold. Only
Mm-hmm.
the winners get bred. That's how they got the gameness in the American Pit
Right.
Bull Terrier. So what the farmers actually valued in the Presas was the qualities valued in the traditional Presas were strong territorial instincts, courage under pressure, calm but powerful presence, ability to protect livestock and property, clear-headed aggression only when needed, loyal to the family, and Finnica. So with the history helped shape the modern Presa for the better because as history goes on we gain more knowledge
Mm-hmm.
to help understand all the things.
Right. Right. Let me ask you something about that pit bull. We got to remember that the Presa was for guarding, herding, gripping livestock. It's a utility dog,
Yep.
So I think we want to point that out. And let me point out something else too, because I've been podcasting a long time, and when you talking about dog fighting, oh my God,
What?
somebody gonna say, "Hey guys, y'all better pick up the books that started these breeds. You better pick them up because we not. It's just the history of a lot of these breeds.
A
So,
lot.
yeah, this is what we talking about. Look at here. Look at all these dogs. And look at the name of this book. So, this is for mature audiences.
Mature only.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, thanks for breaking that down. Now, the white in the presser, back in the day, we see it mostly white. Where does it stand today in the standard of how much white could be on the dog?
So I've been doing some digging. There was never anything on paper saying 30% Presa was allowed, but this come to the working presses versus the non-working presses. They decided that they're going to stay at the 20% whites, but it does not mean that you shouldn't breed this dog because what happens is you're going to eliminate good genetics out the gene pool. So I'm going to say this. I have a little tiny book here about how white is created in the Presa Canario. Now,
Mhm.
what most would say, oh, it's a throwback gene. There's white in the lines. Yes, there's white in the lines, and this is what comes from ethical breeding. There's white in the lines. Don't pick another dog to breed to that dog that has heavy white in the lines because you're going to get 24 to 90% on the white. That's going to bring you out of standard. But if you still want to follow the standard, you got to be more selective on your breeding. So if you use your embark, you can get the S Locus, right? You can test for your S Locus. Almost all presses carry the S solid or SI Irish spotting variants. This will create acceptable markings: white on the chest, white on the throat, small chin, neck patches, toes or small socks, thin tail tip marking, narrow blades on the muzzle. These markings do not impact the temperament, health, or working ability. They are simply pigmentation patterns.
Mm.
Even two dogs that individually have minimal white can still carry recessive spotting modifiers. Expand the size of the white areas, create long socks, create wider chest white, create neck or shoulder patches, increases the white percentage beyond the standard allows. This does not mean either parent is outside the standard. It means both contribute minor modifiers that stacked in the puppy, while expressions is polygenic, not controlled by a single gene. That means several small genes influence the amount of white, not just one. So you can get over 20% white if both parents carry strong versions of the SI allele. Both parents carry minor modifiers that increase white. There is a combination of recessive spotting expansion genes. One parent has slightly more white if appears on the first glance. A dilute or brindle pattern usually emphasizes the white areas. Even correct standard type parents are unexpectedly produce full socks, large white plates, broad white bellies, neck rings, partial collars, white expanding up the legs. This does not necessarily indicate crossbreeding. As I'll say this again, does not mean you have crossbred the dog. It's simply genetics expressing the high end of normal variations. White markings in the Presa Canario are not health issues and do not affect function. However, like I said, a function to the work in Presa Canario. For breeding programs focused on standard type, breeders should understand which dogs in the pedigree tend to pass more white. Avoid pairing two dogs that both show expanded white patterns. Track siblings' white expressions often appear across the entire litter. Choose mates that moderate each other's markings. This preserves the correct expression without limiting healthy typey dogs from the breeding program. And I think I sent you a way you could kind of calculate by eye on how to measure white in a Presa Canario. So like you can look at the Presa and 5% of if you look at the neck, you can mark that as 5%. The front legs would be 15%. The chest and shoulders would be 15%. The ribs, back and flank would be 30%, and the tail is 5%. So if you look at a dog, you could kind of break it down by those. And this is what's widely used for judges, whether it's UKC, AKC, FCI. It's just a quick, easy way to break down that just by looking at the dog. You can get real technical. You could take a picture of it, put in 1 by 1 squares. You could count the squares and do the percentages and do the math, but there's no need for that.
Right. Okay.
Poor
So,
monster.
but I'm not in the presser, but today, how do you see any dogs above maybe like we'll say the 24% mark?
There's a lot.
Oh, it is?
Like
Okay.
Raduca's line carries a lot. A few of the Spain dogs carry. I had imports from CEP. Peyote produced a lot of heavy white dogs. But it just depends, and like they'll say it's throwback genes, and some people it's because it's alibi mixed in the lines, which there's none say that there isn't. And it could be that there is pit bull back in the lines that throw that, because pit bulls come in white and they throw pieballs.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the genes, even a Labrador retriever could have white on the chest. It's just genes that pop up, and it's just something that we have to be more mindful when we're selecting dogs and breeding them. But some people just match up pedigrees and they want to do tight line breedings, and then, oh crap, look, I got an all white Presa. Cool, man, I'm about to sell it for $10,000. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I had a piebald female. She was 90% white. I bred her to my male. He was off of Roulette and Zeus. I bred him to her, and not one come out piebald. I did get black and tan though, because she carried both copies she carried a copy of AT, and the male carried a copy of AT, which came from Roulette, which comes from a couple of the Delorina dogs. Which, if
Oh,
you
so
look back at all the
y'all
Delorina
get black
dogs,
and tan?
you can.
Okay.
Creature here. I'll show you her. She
Okay.
is AT not expressed.
Right.
So she's got trindle legs. Shut up, Joey. Come here. Sit. She's got brindle legs, right? I don't know if you can see it really well. She's got a black sable body, and that's pretty much it. And she's been bred to Legend, which carried black and tan too, but they didn't produce any black and tans, but her daughter bred to her uncle, Cage. had produced a black and tan, but some of them were just trindles.
Okay, gotcha.
But
Okay.
if it's not expressed, it's not going to show up. I mean, she's technically a brindle dog. She's not a black and tan. But if you get the right pairing, because it's a recessive trait, if you get it just right, they'll pop out.
Yeah.
My girlfriend had bred dogs off my lines, off a creature. Yeah, creature and Zeus daughters, bred to a Orisha legend son, and they produced a black and tan.
Okay.
Joey, shut up.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Sorry, Joe.
No, it's all right. Shoot, I thought you sound like my wife talking, so I just said yes, ma'am.
It was
got me
just my
thinking.
puppy. My puppy was
Let me see
crying.
your puppy. What kind of puppy you got?
Oh, he's not a puppy. Well,
Oh,
he's what, 8 months. It's that pit bull that
the
was
one you
behind me
showed.
running.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Cool.
I call him
Well,
GI Joe.
oh, G.I. Joe. Yeah, there was a nickname they used to tease me with when I was younger. G.I. Joe.
Well, that's
Um,
because I'm old military. You know, I've been out the military since 22. 22, my contract was up, so I
what
thought it was
branch?
cool to National Guards. I wasn't that cool.
Okay,
I
okay.
still
Oh,
served.
yeah. MOS. What was MOS?
88 Mike. I was a truck driver, heavy
Oh, okay.
machinery operator.
Oh, yeah. You crazy as hell, ain't you? Yeah.
Now you know why I drive so much.
Yeah. What? You're a tough girl. You're a Boilermaker, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. You. Let me ask you something. Do you have a lot of you got siblings?
I have 2 older brothers and then I have a half brother.
Okay, so you was raised up around a lot of boys.
And my husband was raised with sisters, so you can only imagine.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, that's how I am. Yeah, I grew up around all girls. You know what I'm saying? So that could work
So
a
you're the
couple
bougie
different ways.
one. You're the
Huh?
bougie one. When your wife married you, you're the bougie one.
Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, because like that when you get raised up with a lot of girls, they don't seem. My parents were paying attention to them girls. I was doing all kinds of they were just trying to get them girls raised up right. Shit, I was one
You
wilding,
was
but you know.
you was trying to steal their girlfriends. I know what you was doing.
Yeah, at once upon a time, I was.
Back when you wasn't married, we know.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was hell on wheels, believe it or not. But let me ask you this: you do a lot of travel, and you were in the vet field at once upon a time, right? You worked in vet offices and things like that.
Yeah, I went to school to be a vet tech. You
That's
know,
what it was.
I'm a vet
Okay.
tech dropout. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have dropped out, but the knowledge didn't drop out your brain, right?
No, that just grew more than what that school could teach me.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about some of that. And the proper term is zoonotic, right? Zoonotic disease and parasite prevention.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Um, so I'm just gonna kind of list these. I can go over the correct drugs you can use to prevent or treat these
Right.
things. It's pretty stealthy, but I'm gonna try to do this real quick. So,
Okay.
first one will be your roundworms. It can affect humans by accidental ingestion of eggs that come from contaminated soil, kennel floors, dog fur, food bowls, etc. You're going to want to deworm your puppies 2 to 12 weeks of age, deworm dams during pregnancy, monthly parasite prevention. Wash your hands when you're handling puppies or around your dogs after you clean kennels. No barefoot walking in dog areas. Keep kids away from the puppy feces. You're going to want to treat this with pyrantel, paramount, carbendazole. Nobody ever wants to use none of this other stuff, so I'm not even going to use that because I'm going to say things we can buy online.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say the stuff we can get online. Now, the website you're showing is Horse Pacers, and you can actually get febendazole, pyrantel, your heartworm medication on there. So then we're gonna go to the hookworms. We can get that by larvae penetrating the skin. So if you're walking around barefooted and you're walking on infected soil, you're gonna want to prevent them the same way as you do for roundworms. You're going to use the same febendazole and pyrantel.
Mhm.
You're going to want to wear gloves in your yard and avoid the soil contact if you ever had hookworms at your property. Now, whipworms, you can rarely be infected, but it's environmental contamination is what matters. So if you get any on your skin or you have it, you're going to want to wash your hands and kind of deep clean all your kennels real well. You're going to want to worm your dogs monthly with febendazole. And then we're going to get to tapeworms. Everybody's loved the tapeworms to help lose some weight. So they're very hard to get rid of. You're going to want to make sure you don't have fleas on your property or on your dogs. You're going to want to treat your tapeworms real fast. If the dogs poop, you're going to want to clean it up real quick. You're going to want to wash your hands, keep bedding clean from on the dogs. Aggressive flea management is the biggest thing. So like if people don't keep flea medications on their dogs and they're like, "Oh, I never had a flea problem." And the next thing you know, they're swamped with fleas, and then you're going to want to treat for tapeworms too. You're going to want to use a Presa Quanto, Esperanto, which is basically a medication that paralyzes the tapeworm because it's not going to come out. It's going to come out as a whole thing. You want to paralyze that whole thing so it comes out, because when it's alive, it releases those segments that looks like grains of rice, and then that's what's re-ingested in things that dogs eat, and it just reinfests themselves. That little segment can grow into a 10-foot, 50-foot worm.
Wow.
And then you're going to go into Giardia. Like most people don't know about Giardia. It's a single-celled organism, kind of reproduces on its own. Same thing with Coccidia. So Giardia is different than Coccidia. It's a little bit easier to get rid of. You can do 3 to 5 days. If it's a prevention of Giardia, you want to do 3 days of febendazole. If you full-blown have Giardia, you're going to want to do 5 days and then repeat in 7 days with a 3-day dose of febendazole. You can get it. The dogs can get it. They can share it rapidly. They drink out of the same water bowls. If you don't clean your bowls, they can get it. Avoid puddles. Dogs drink out of puddles. Stagnant water, they can get it. Rural areas, they can get it. So you're going to want to wash your hands real good and don't drink any outdoor water, because that's a good way to get Giardia. You're going to use febendazole or Montradol, which you can get some of that. It used to be online in the fish department, or you can get it overseas. I usually have a big bottle from the vet that I keep on hand, because I use febendazole, but sometimes it don't work, so I have to use the metronidazole. Blah, blah, blah. That's how I feel saying that word.
Right. Yeah.
So here's the tricky one. Coccidia is a son of a bitch. You're gonna want. It's not directly a zoonotic from dogs, but it's a very big, major kennel contaminant. So you're going to use the Toltrazuril that you have on the screen. And their bottles do have the dosages to use. I like to use the 5%. A lot of people use the 2.5. I do the 5% just because I know it's going to work. And it only takes 3 days of treatment. So you give them once a day for 3 days and it's wiped out. And then you repeat again in 7 days. Just one dose after the 7th day. I like to use the 2.5% on puppies. Anything under 6 weeks of age, I use the 2.5 because it's a little bit safer. And the puppies are a lot smaller, so you don't need that higher dose. And I start that I give them a dose at 2 weeks, because a lot of times I live out in the country. So we have a deer farm back here. So whenever we have heavy rains in the spring or summers, we kind of get that nasty runoff and the dogs can get it. So I just automatically know to treat. I try to prevent it every month because it's a big thing out here, same with Giardia. So I just stay on top of it. So you're going to want to use your Toltrazuril and sulfamethoxam, which is what you get from your vet. You can't just go pick that up. But that's why I like the Toltrazuril better. If you can't get it with the Toltrazuril, you can try the sulfamethoxam. The Toltrazuril actually paralyzes it and it can't reinfect the dog. The sulfamethoxam, I believe, Toltrazuril kills it. Sulfamethoxam actually just paralyzes it, but they can re-pick it up. So that's why I like the Toltrazuril more.
Now the Toltrazuril. Now, can you get that? Is that at Tractor Supply in the horse section?
You can get like Corin. It's in a 1-gallon bottle, and you could put it in the water. So the only issue I have with that is you could do that, but then if you do it too much, then it kind of builds up the intolerance. But the thing is the dogs keep getting reinfected from Coccidia, but they have to build up a immune to it. So it's always going to be there. But like if your dog has like a weak immune system, like a puppy,
It comes
they're
out.
they're going to be more prone to getting it than a full grown adult dog. So it's just mainly just keep your kennels clean and just kind of let their immune system build up. They'll at least have it one time in their whole life, so don't be surprised if you ever get it. And it can kind of mimic the same symptoms as parvo. I don't know if you ever heard this, but they can mimic the signs of parvo. So they can poop blood, they get real lethargic, they stop drinking water, they can cause some vomiting. So it's just make sure you test for that or treat for that first before you just run to the vet and think you got parvo. Usually, if you give them the first dose, by the next day or even by later that day, they'll start eating and drinking again.
You know, with the parvo, when you smell it, it smells. It has like a metallic, it's like, what is that? Is it
Well,
the same with coccidia?
Coccidia too, they have a nasty shit with
Yeah.
that. Hookworms, if you smell the mouth of a dog and it smells like metal, it's most likely hookworms.
Okay.
And even if you like nick them or something on the puppies, like cut their nails or something, they're just gonna bleed forever because the hookworms remove the coagulant in there so it doesn't clot.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
not, but it is. So then the fun one, the ringworm. Everybody
Mm.
thinks ringworm is a worm. It is not. It is a fungus. You could actually treat ringworm. It's usually a small spot that grows real big and it's very
Mhm.
circular and it's red all the way around. It actually eats the hair out and you'll end up with a bald spot. You could treat this with athlete's foot cream.
Mhm.
Shocker. But you want to make sure that it's not a spot the dog can lick because obviously any cream or anything like that you don't want your dog to ingest. So put a cone on
Mhm.
your dog. Put the athlete's foot cream on there. You're
Yeah.
going to want to keep it dry, isolate the dog from yourself and other animals because it is highly contagious because it
Mhm.
is a fungus. You're going to disinfect your equipment and all your bedding. And basically, a topical antifungal will work. But if that don't work, go see a vet and get an oral fungal. I don't think they
Yeah.
sell oral fungals in the store. Um, Now we're going to get to Sarcoptic Mange, which can be
Man.
scabies,
Yeah.
which can be transferred to humans. It's a direct contact itchy rash. Prevention: treat infected dogs immediately. Avoid unknown stray dogs in contact. So this is the fun part. Like I said, on that horse pace, you can get on there and get you ivermectin. I treat my dogs every month with ivermectin. It does do a natural worm, well, not natural. It kills worms like your hookworms, roundworms, um, and then it's also going to prevent your heartworm infestations because it kills the microvilli in there.
Mhm.
And you're gonna do that, and if you do a correct dose or a little bit more, you could treat or prevent mange, scabies, which scabies is also an autoimmune disease in dogs, and that will help get rid of that real quick. Or you can use Ciprica, NexGard, Bravecto, Mexadictin, Selemectin. If I like the old school ivermectin way.
Ivermectin. Yeah. You keep
That's my
saying for
favorite.
overseas. You keep saying getting stuff overseas. A lot of you breeders know what we mean. Ukraine.
Yes. Ukraine.
Yeah.
So ivermectin, I use the sheep drench, which you can get that off Amazon. It's cheaper than Tractor Supply and it gets delivered to your door. You don't have to leave your house. But
Hmm.
you can get sheep drench. I believe it's 2.5%, something like that. It's one of the lower dosages. And basically for a 100-pound dog, you give them half a cc. But I like to double it. I give them 1 cc. So my little dogs get 4 cc's or so. Just depends. But a puppy, I wouldn't double. You run into some issues. Um, Salmonella, as we all know,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
can get salmonella looking at the fish the wrong way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just hygiene. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say eliminate feeding raw to your dogs because I feed my dogs raw every day.
Yeah. You're a raw
I,
feeder. That's
ever,
true. Yeah.
my dogs have never got salmonella, let me tell you. So
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
dogs, if dogs can't handle salmonella, like back in the day, like dogs should be able to handle salmonella. Their guts were made to digest raw, rotten meat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right. Yeah.
So it just comes down to what people have done to dogs, the breeds. They humanized them. They're making them weaker. They're not strong genetics anymore, and it's sad.
Hmm.
It's a sad thing what humans have done to dogs over the years.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if you have
dogs can make them be
salmonella,
tough. Yeah.
if you got salmonella, you better go see a dog vet or see a people vet because it ain't gonna work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ride it out. Ride it out. Let your immune system do what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so here's another big one. I live out in rural country, so I treat or prevent my dogs with. Now we're gonna get onto viruses. Sorry, we're gonna get
Okay.
onto viruses. I'm gonna be on leptospirosis. It is highly contagious to humans. If you're exposed to urine or contaminated standing water, so like if you're walking your dog through the trails and there's stagnant water, um, we got the annual lepto vaccine. So you want to make sure you have that on time, and then rodent control because rodents carry it through feces. So like if you live out in the country, you have farmlands, and there are mice in your food or whatever, throw that bag of food away, or at least try to prevent it with leptospirosis vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
So the correct way to treat that, if you suspect your dog has it, if you're like me, you have penicillin or doxycycline on hand. If you suspect your dog has leptospirosis, please start your dog immediately or take the dog to be diagnosed by a veterinarian and then treat accordingly. Because like I said, it can be passed on from animals and humans. And then another big one, which is rabies. If many don't know what rabies is, it is transferred through bite or saliva and is 100% fatal without immediate medical care. Dogs need to be up to date on rabies vaccines. Humans medically care after any suspicious bite. So, like if your dog would bite somebody and they think it has rabies, and it isn't vaccinated, that dog will be put down just so they can diagnose the brain to make sure it doesn't have rabies. So basically, the rabies vaccine, what it does is does not prevent your dog from getting rabies, but it prevents them from biting a human if they have Well, it doesn't prevent them from biting a human. If they bite a human, they cannot pass the
Yeah.
virus along.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was trying to spit that out. I almost
Yeah.
jacked that
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So
Right.
here's your fun one. Another virus, brucellosis,
Yep.
Brucella canis. It is
Mm-hmm.
not a parasite, but a major zoonotonic. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Disease, highly relevant um, human infection. So, like, this is one of the things I made for the UPCC. I made a whole thing about brucellosis because it could wipe out your whole breeding program.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna want to brucellosis test before every breeding, whether or not you if you breed your own dogs and you test your dogs that year, you know you're not gonna have brucellosis. But if you have a dog that comes on your property and it wasn't tested, whether it's being bred or not, that dog pees on your property, it can then also cause issues on your yard if it does have brucellosis.
Well,
Uh,
damn. Okay. I thought that was just more of a sexual thing.
Now it could be
Transmitted.
from urine,
Okay.
um, I can get into that one. I have a whole thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Annual testing, so every 6 months to 1 year. If you're doing outside breedings, you want to make sure that female or that male's tested. Even if you use a frozen semen, you're still going to want to make sure that dog has been brucellosis tested before being frozen, because even if it had brucellosis before it was frozen, it could still be transferred to your bitch because semen is a bodily fluid. It can happen. Now it's been frozen at sub-zero degrees, so I don't see how it could live past that for so many years. But I'm only the messenger. I'm not a full functioning scientific specialist here.
Right.
Just some things I picked up on. I just want to do it. Some I want to
Right.
do. You can do it. I'm not. Uh, there is no definitive cure. Infected breeding dogs are usually removed from the breeding program. That means a dog dies. Because we can't risk passing that disease on, to another dog.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
we're just gonna deworm dogs every 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 weeks. Start monthly preventions at 12 weeks. Keep whelping areas disaffected. Wash bowls daily and maintain indoor-outdoor sanitation. And then adults, you're gonna deworm every 3 months. Year-round heartworm plus intestinal parasite prevention. Annual fecals. Annual brucellosis tests for breeding dogs. Annual lepto and rabies. Vaccinate appropriately for local risks. Kennel sanitation, pick up feces twice a day, bleach floors weekly, prevent prevent and control rodents, prevent stray dogs from entering, keep the kennel dry. Oh my god, keep kennel runs dry. And I kind of sent you this the other day about my favorite thing to use in kennels is pelletized lime.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
helps.
yeah.
It helps with a little bit of that sanitation. If you have a problem with getting poop off your floor, sprinkle some of that pelletized lime down, and it'll keep down the odors and kill some bacterias and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Now
you can pick
is that stuff good for fleas and ticks too? I think I saw something
it.
like Tom Garner
It
talking about that one time.
It could be because I mean, since I've been using, I haven't had a flea issue, but I'm not gonna say yes or no. But basically, it makes the soil acidic. It kind of
Mhm.
neutralizes, the pHs on the ground from the pee. So I
Right.
mean, it could maybe burn the fleas. It also this stuff actually has a pretty good smell to it versus like the barn lime. I don't like the barn lime because it's real powdery and it can agitate the lungs and things like that. So I've always been using this, and sometimes I'll even take some sulfur, powder sulfur, and it actually acts like a microorganism killer. And you just wet it down, and it kind of mixes, and it kind of kills everything off.
Right, right, right. Okay. Anything else you had on that part? I did
Nope,
put up a list of vaccinations, and so they can look at that. So let's our last topic we wanted to talk about was the whelping box. Am I correct?
that is correct. It's one of my
Okay.
favorite things to talk about.
Well, let's talk about it because you got some tips on hip health and all this good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we know, hip dysplasia does not just run in Presa Canarios. It runs in every breed, all breeds, small, little, big, medium, extra large, fat, light, whatever. Not all. It is influenced by genetics. It also is influenced by environmental. So environmental. I'm gonna kind of go over this because from the day that puppy is born, is when it's starting to use its ligaments and things like that. And as we all know, puppies are not born with hip sockets yet. Maybe not everybody knows, but me and you know that all dogs are not born with hip sockets. They develop about between 12 to 14 weeks of age. They start developing. So hip dysplasia in dogs, including breeds within the UPCC community, which would be the presses, and I added in the bull terriers coming in. It is influenced by far more than genetics. The early environment, especially the type of flooring puppies are raised on, plays a major role in shaping long-term hip health. Below is an educational breakdown that touches puppy development, environmental risk, diagnosis, and prevention. So this is what breeders must know about puppy hip development. Most people assume that puppies are born fully formed hip sockets. They are not. At birth, up to 4 months, puppies do not have a true hip sockets. The joint is extremely soft and is cartilage based. The femoral head, the ball, which is held in place, is mainly ligaments and soft tissue and are not deep bony sockets yet. As a puppy grows and moves, the hip sockets forms based on how well the ball sits in placement. This is where the environmental becomes critical. In the presses, they are a large and fast-growing breed. Many environmental stresses, slippery floors, excessive splaying, or poor traction can negatively shape the joints as it ossifies. So the a major player in the hip development is going to be your whelping boxes. A lot of people I see, they have them on a pool and they throw some bedding in there and the puppies are just pushing the bedding around, or they have them in the pool or some tile with some slippery newspaper on there and the feet are just going all sorts of different ways. So you can also end up with cowhock dogs, sickle hock, whatever. Let me get back on topic here. Um,
Oh, you good?
The whelping box is the first environment puppies experience, and what happens here is it can affect the hip joint shape for life. Risky whelping box setup. So you don't want to do anything with smooth plastic floors, newspaper, vinyl without texture, flat bedding with no traction, areas where puppies can swim or splay their legs. So like if a puppy's on the ground and I don't know if you hear swimmers, but the legs go completely out like this and they're just flat on
Hmm.
their chest. And they call
Hmm.
that swimmers. That's from poor traction in the whelping box. So I like to use vet fleece. It's a little expensive. I do a 5x5 piece, or I will use from Menards a $20 rug, and I will throw it away and buy new ones.
That's right. But hey, Lisa, you know something? If them dogs, to me, out of all the litters I've whelped, if those puppies got some good grip, a lot of times mine be up on their feet walking in 7 days. You know,
you could see them come out the womb and they'll be freaking walking on 4 legs, eating some titties.
Yeah. Give them some grip. They'll start standing up and
that's what you want to see. You want to see them pushing with their hind legs to get into that titty over there. You know, you want to see them using them. If you can't see the dog pushing or nudging, it's not going to get a good feeding.
Mm-hmm.
So these surfaces make the puppy slide and lose traction, causing the femoral heads to slip in and out of place, and then this instability will contribute to abnormal hip sockets. So that's like repetitive motion, and it's going to cause it not to form correctly because these hips and the laxity in these legs, as they're still developing, isn't going to cause anything forming around nothing because it's too loose. So then you're going to continue to have laxity.
Right.
So the traction matters because the femoral head forms deeper and smoother. When they slip and splay, the joint may remain loose, the sockets may form shallow, the long-term risk for hip dysplasia increases. Environmental contributors to hip dysplasia beyond genetics. Even genetically sound puppies can develop poor hips if raised on poor surfaces. Environmental stressors include slippery household floors, tile, hardwood, jumping off furniture at a young age. This does also include if a dog jumps off furniture at a young age, there is this thing called OCD, which causes the cartilage in the joints to separate, and it's very painful for dogs. You could fix it with surgery or you can euthanize the dog. Another stressor on the joints would be overfeeding because our dogs do grow rapidly. So you don't want to overfeed your dog, keep them lean. Don't want to overexercise before the growth plates close. Excessive stair climbing, lack of proper traction mats during early weeks, injury from rough play on slick surfaces. So if your dog's always out playing with another dog, an adult dog with a puppy, that dog can seriously injure that puppy. I always recommend don't let your puppies play with your big dogs just because they can throw that puppy and break some. So watch throwing the ball in the house on slippery floors, doing a lot of slipping and sliding. This also could lead to ACL tears, things like that. The environment is especially impactful from the birth to 6 months when the hips are forming. The hip formation is the most sensitive. And then how we would diagnose hip dysplasia would be optimal whelping boxes features, non-slip rubber mats, raised traction, well, how you would prevent it. Optimal whelping box features no non-slip rubber mats, raised traction surfaces, i.e. Eva foam grid, yoga mat material, whelping pads that stay grippy when they are wet because puppies are messy. They pee, they poop, they get slop and food all over. You're going to want to keep it clean, dry, soft, but textured surface so they can grip it. Ensuring puppies gain traction when crawling. And then how you would diagnose it would be with a physical exam. So you're going to watch the gait, check range of motion, feel for laxity in the joint. You could do this to start off with your vet, or if you know how to do it, you could do it. Then you're going to go from that. If you think the dog has hip dysplasia, from that, you're going to go ahead and do your x-rays. You can send it off to the OFA, the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals, or you could do pen hip, which measures the laxity as early as 16 weeks. Now, they say it's accurate from the time of 16 weeks to their adult, but puppies are growing, like we said, and their ligaments are still loose because their puppies are growing. So I would recommend for a female to wait until after the first heat. For the males, wait until after a year, and they're pretty accurate after that, as I pen hipped a few. And a lot of people still wait till 2. That's fine too. Whatever is preferred for them is fine. Environmental prevention strategies for strong, healthy hips. In the whelping box, use non-slip mats throughout the whole whelping area. Avoid smooth plastic floors, textures. Ensure bedding does not shift. That's where it comes to that bedding that I was telling you about. Traction consistent even during cleaning. Provide early neurological stimulation without forcing movement. Keep puppies in a healthy weight, never overfed. And another thing about beddings, I'll have to get onto that about cedar, pine, aspen, and kind of do like a rating of them. And then after the puppies go home, tell the clients to use rugs, yoga mats, or rubber runners on the slick floors. Prevent jumping off couches or beds. Avoid excessive running, forced exercise, or long hikes for young puppies. Moderate growth nutrition, not high calorie puppy food. Like I told you before, lower protein, better for the big dogs.
Large breed.
Encourage,
Mhm.
yep, encourage controlled play on good surfaces. Keep nails trimmed for better traction. Now, unless you got a weight pull dog, because I got dagger clawed dogs just for weight pull, so don't count me in on that one. But it
Mhm.
does if you have your toenails grown out too long, it can cause the feet to kind of grow wonky and splay the feet and things like that. So it is important to keep them kind of trimmed down, but never too long.
Mhm.
And then it would help um with if you have good hips, better mobility when you're well into your senior years, less risk of early arthritis, improved working ability, fewer surgical interventions. But I don't know, people are kind of high for wanting to do surgical hip replacements on dogs.
Boy,
Ew.
man, yeah, yeah, that's tough. Um, you were you going to tap in on the type of bedding like cedar? Why you don't prefer cedar for puppies? Is that correct?
Yeah. So cedar has oils in it, and it's
Hmm.
actually more toxic to inhale. Like it's
Hmm.
a little better with older dogs because, like I said, their immune system, but the oils from that cedar can cause upper respiratory irritation, which could lead to infections
That's why their
such as
nose be
pneumonia.
running. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Make them know.
cause it.
I learned about that. Yeah.
So I don't mind pine as much as cedar. It's got less, it masks the odors. It's not as strong. It's still not my number one. My number one's going to be aspen. They actually have like a horse aspen at Tractor Supply. It's like real fine, and actually it pads down real well. So like when your
Mhm.
puppies are 4 or 6 weeks old, when you don't have that carpet in there no more, it actually pads real down real good on that slippery surface, and they still have traction. But you can't just put a thin layer. You got to put a heaping amount. And it actually worked real well for me. I haven't had any upper respiratory issues with any of that. The pine, I know people use pine pellets for their whelping box or their um for litter box training, which I use
Uh-huh.
that too. But I
Me
also
too.
take the green pellets from alfalfa because it smells like grass, and I'll sprinkle that inside the pine pellets because it's just a little bit more expensive. But then it kind of gives it the odor of outside from that green
Oh,
alfalfa
yeah.
pellet. And actually, that I found works the best if you mix a little bit of that in there with your pine, because it just don't break down as good as the pine either when you're litter box training.
Right, right, right. Yeah, that litter box training is a game changer. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
I actually sprayed some stuff in here on Amazon. I don't know if it seemed like it worked for me, but it's called Go Here. And I spray it in there in a little bit, and for the most part, they'll start going over there pooping and pissing and shit. I mean, stuff like that.
I got
Yeah,
you cussing.
yeah. No, you ain't got me cuss. I've been a cuss. I just been working on it.
Come on,
Um,
come on. Come on.
okay, all right. Well, I want to thank you for all that. I want to know this um before we get out of here. Uh, the UPPCC is doing a lot of things. I'm in y'all groups and everything, so I'm always observing. But looking ahead in maybe 5 years, what is the single biggest challenge and the single biggest opportunity for the Presa Canario community?
I think it's to get more people involved. As you see, there's not many people involved and they think they can't do it. And I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to get more people involved. So we had about, I think there was close to 30 dogs at our last show. I like to double the numbers by the next show. And then the year after that, double that one. So we'll be looking at by 5 years, I'm hoping to get 100 plus dogs there. Um, and we don't want to discourage people because I don't want it to just be board members going to these shows. I want everybody to have the opportunity to be there and do things, and we're kind
Yeah.
of traveling to do the things. And I started off before, the little girl at the UKC show, and I was so tickled when I actually went to a show, and that's the same way people feel after they start going, but they think shows are so stupid, and it's not worth their time, and that's why we kind of open it up to different breeds too, and you can do all the different sports. So
Right.
I think it's gonna grow. Some people just have a different taste. They don't like the UPPCC or not happy with the new owner, and they don't even give the guy a chance, or maybe he rubbed them wrong before he got the place. But all it does is take a little conversation, a little speaking to somebody, and you can actually get to know them, or even come out to the event and meet them. So it
Right.
like it's different when you hear a keyboard warrior or hear the way they talk on text, but when you go and meet that person in person, it's a completely different person.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I'm in the industry of all that talking and texting and different things like that. And it's being that I cover so many breeds, it's almost these standout texter talkers in every breed. Every breed, like it's a guy or a
Yeah.
girl, like this motherfucker here. But yeah, the shows are important. We actually got a show coming up, the Arkansas Backwood Classic, hosted by Sykes Pups, February 28th, Searcy, Arkansas. It's gonna be more of a bulldog thing, OD and all those kind of dogs, but it's gonna be a weight pool event there, and it's gonna be
Ooh,
it's
I'm
gonna be
excited.
boy, it's gonna be some boys. We're gonna make some announcements, but it's gonna be some heavy hitters there, boy. Woo! Yeah, and it's gonna be. Wait till I'm gonna tell you about it when as soon as they get it fixed up. It's gonna be a very exciting event for Arkansas. Yeah.
Ooh, I can't wait to watch. And
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
thing
Yes.
too is we're bringing back the weight pull with the UPPCC. They did have it back in the day, and another thing with the UPPCC we're bringing back is the Gripper magazine. So I'm as a
Oh,
little bit of
nice.
stuff I read off today is a few of the things I got together for the Gripper magazine, and I got the show results together for everybody to be posted online, and then I have a bunch of educational posts I want to do and start running them, and then I will put that in the Gripper magazine. I'm getting more people involved. I'm asking for bios of dogs that have won things and like that. So if anybody's watching this and they have a Presa that has won anything in the past, even if it's a basic show title, I want to know the year. I want to know what you did. I want to put you in our Gripper, So I want to make you known again. I want people to be able to know what's going on and who helped put feet in the breed years ago. It's not about what's going on now. I want to know the past too, and I want to know differences. And it's an open book. Everybody can learn, and I want to build more knowledge in the presses. No,
Mhm.
I know everybody has their own opinion of the Presa, but I'm going to state facts. I'm not here to argue with people. I'm just going to state facts. I know I'll
Right.
ruffle a couple feathers about things, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to
Well,
disagree with me.
yeah. What I noticed too when we talk about these recreated breeds is at some point you got to come to your own conclusion because it's going to be some forks in the road. Okay. Okay, we just have to agree that we don't agree on that. So you know what I mean? It is kind of it's
Well,
the Corso same way. The Corso
well, that's
same way.
why I
Yeah.
told you I'm doing a little thing on the recreation of the Presa. It's just basically breaking down what a recreated breed is. It's It'll be interesting. It's not like opinion based or what I say it is, or it only lists like four different breeds, and that'll ruffle some feathers because obviously there was way more dogs that were in the breed that recreated it. But it it'll ruffle feathers like usual. But like I said, everybody has their own opinion, and I got sources that are from Spain and people that's been in the history and the writing
Mhm.
and all the things. And I got several references, so that
Right.
person's information may be different than mine, and that's okay because not just one person rewrote the recreation of the Presa Canario. Not just one person had a opinion of the press and what it was and what they wanted it to be. It was a group of individuals. So everybody
Mhm.
had their own type that they liked, and that's what we still have. It comes
Mhm.
to it's cold as hell out here. Comes to what we like and what we want. within
Mhm.
within the breed standard, whether we agree with the standard or not. But that's just how the breed was recreated, you know.
Right.
So they took several different people's vision of the breed and kind of mashed it together, and then they're like, all right, well, this makes everybody happy because it fits all your dogs. So here you go.
Mm. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, you said you're gonna be working. You're gonna be going more in depth on that, huh?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that. I have it inside. I come
Okay.
out smoke though.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you coming back on the show, like you said you was. She's a lady of her word. I respect everything you doing in that club, and I see y'all doing. Y'all ever need anything, need any announcements, just holler at me. I got you.
Oh, I will once I got a place and time and date for my show. I'll let you know.
Bet it up. All
Hopefully.
right.
Ho- all right. I'll talk
No,
to you
no, go ahead.
soon.
Finish your statement. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was gonna say I hope to see you at one of them one of these times.
Hey, depends on the location. I'll be there if it's getting close down here in the dirty.
In the dirty,
Yeah, it
in the
got to
dirty
come close to
deeds.
the dirt.
Well,
I'll definitely show up. Hell
I
yeah.
think I plan on going to a Mississippi show, ADBA show in Mississippi in February. I went there last year. I think I might go there again this year.
Oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. All right, young lady. Well,
And
enjoy your smoke
go
and
ahead.
make sure you come back and holler at us.
Oh, I think we got a couple more podcasts to do now. We went from one to two. Now we're thinking like three, 4, 5. We'll keep them going.
Hey, I don't never talk to nobody I can just talk to once. What's the point?
Must not have been a very good podcast. It wasn't very educational. If that's the case.
Yeah, but it was good. Okay. Well, she's breaking up. We out. I'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real world experience and our passion for healthy dogs. Step into the realm of canine wisdom with our podcast, NWA Cane Corsos, where we interview dog men and women from around the globe. Discover their talents and insights on breeding, training, nutrition, and the rich history of dogs. Tune in to the most underrated yet influential dog podcast on social media. Your journey into the dog world starts here.